A warm welcome to all. I am Mrs. M.Poorani, Assistant Professor in Vellalar College of Education. I wish that this session would be beneficial to all the B.Ed trainees, especially those who are in first year. This would be beneficial to them in two ways. One, it will fulfill your curricular objectives, and two, this will help you in enriching your psychological knowledge and to deal with your students in near future. In today's session, I would like to talk about the famous theory of Erickson on psychosocial development. This theory has a significant place in psychology, not only in psychology but also in specifically in growth and developmental aspects, because this theory covers the entire lifespan of an individual in 8 stages. Let's see how. Erickson was born in 1902 and lived till 1994, but he is still spoken and appreciated for his psychosocial developmental theory, which is a base for all our B.Ed students and teachers. He was basically a developmental psychologist. The famous term he coined was identity crisis, which is relating or closely associated with the adolescent stage. He is a German American and he was influenced by so many of his contemporaries and his seniors, I could say. One among them is a famous personality in psychology, I should say, is Sigmund Freud and his daughter, Anna Freud. He worked in Yale's University, University of California, Harvard University, and Pittsburgh University. So his contributions has been very beneficial to these universities, I should say. And he had done notable work in contributing to the society by way of books, which I had listed few, and mostly had done work on childhood and adolescence or youth, in a way. And his among his famous books, Gandhi's Truth is one. And he had been awarded with the Pulitzer Award, which is a famous award, and National Book Award too. His theory covers the entire lifespan. I told earlier, he stated that development is based on one's interaction with the environment. That is why this is said to be psychosocial developmental theory. So, psychological aspects of an individual and as well as the social aspects of the entire community. He has put together and given us a theory in which he has stated 8 stages. Yes, this theory, it covers the entire lifespan of an individual right from birth to death. So in social development, the social development, he states that it is enabled by the crisis. Now what is crisis? Before that, I would like to say that need is the mother of invention. So wherever there is a pressure, there is a conflict, there is an issue, there is a problem to solve, we become so alert and we try to solve it in lot many ways. We try in a trial and error way, or we get so focused to sort out the problem. So now regarding this term crisis, we will be discussing in each and every stage of this theory. So I'm not elaborating that here. Psychologically interacting with the circumstances or crisis is otherwise, I could say that it is facing or resolving the issues around us or that is affecting us. So as the ladder of growth and development advances, the complexity of social environment also advances. So how it is? See, when the child is a very it is in a newborn, it's a newborn or it is an infant, then what we expect from the child, a newborn, from a newborn we'll expect that it will cry for its nature calls, for its hunger, and thirdly for being in a warmth environment, right? To be pampered. For these things the child will cry. When the child grows up to a 1.5 year old or a 2 year old kid, then we'll start expecting the child to say a few words, stand straight, hold something, and try to walk. From crawling, he or she must stand and crawl. Stand and try to walk. Right? These things we expect from a child. So there is, when the child is growing age wise, he is stepping higher and higher in the ladder. He or she is expected to behave more complexly, or expected to do more activities, more exhibit more behaviors that are complex from the previous one. So higher order level of behavior is expected. So this is what they say by saying this: as the ladder of growth and development advances, the complexity of the social environment also advances. Thus, in each stage of life, there will be a new crisis awaiting the child to deal or interact with. Right. So let's see what the stages are. So here we'll move from infancy in a clockwise direction. From infancy, early childhood, preschooler, school age, adolescent, adulthood, middle adulthood, and maturity stage. So these are the 8 stages. Now there are few words I had mentioned below the uh, each below each stage. For example, in below infancy, there is trust versus mistrust. Early childhood, autonomy versus shame or doubt. Like that, I had mentioned this. I had not mentioned this. Erickson has himself given this. So we'll see how it is going to deal with. But you see that if you could understand the cycle from infancy to the maturity stage, it covers the entire lifespan of an individual. Now, before getting into the stages, to understand, have a base about what are that crisis going to do, this we have to have a look on. The outcomes of dealing or interacting with a new crisis is reflected as the positive or negative aspects of one's behavior. Yes, of course. When we deal with the crisis and we come with splendid colors, we get a success, we'll have a positive behavior, we'll have a positive feel, right? So we'll be feeling happy and we'll reflect that in our behavior. If we become a failure, some people, even from the failure, they learn some lessons and move forward with a positive attitude. They are very optimistic. And some, they'll have some setbacks, they'll have some negative behaviors. So they have classified few here, listed few here. Positive behaviors are trust, independence, initiativeness, industry, identity, and creativity. All these terms will be getting to know much about it in the stages also, upcoming stages also. So negative behaviors are troublesome, hopeless, confused, inferior, sedentary, and being alone. Okay. Psychosocial development does not happen abruptly. The next point. First thing is that whenever we deal with the crisis, how we are going to deal with that, the outcomes will be in such way. It may be in negative behaviors or in positive behaviors. And these psychosocial behaviors are not, or the development is not a sudden aspect, sudden behavior, or sudden outcome. He says that psychosocial development is a gradual process from infancy to adulthood or maturity stage, right? So it's a gradual process in which if one stage is accomplished, the next will be accomplished well. If one stage has a problem, that problem will be carried to the next stage. He says that. Okay. One stage evolves into the another, and covers the entire lifespan. Unsolved crisis will be carried over to the next level, and that will create conflict in that particular level. Right? Not only the particular level, it may be carried to the entire lifespan even. The first stage is trust versus mistrust. This we have mentioned about the infancy stage. So, in infancy stage, what I had previously told you, that only a newborn will cry for few things. What are the few things? It will cry for hunger, for nature calls, or for being in a cuddled or pampered environment, right? So, only thing that child is expecting is hope, hoping for better environment, hoping for a feed, hoping uh, for being comfortable while experiencing some nature calls or something like that. So only hope is the expected aspect in this stage. The major aspect that is expected by a kid is an infant is being trusted. I'm sorry, a trustworthy person. Who is the trustworthy person here? It is either the mother or the caregiver. Most of the time, 99%, it is mother. A substitute to the mother is very difficult, but yet here it has been given as caregiver. So what, see, now we can understand that only the mother will give all these three things to a child, right? In a timely, in an efficient way. Who can perform these tasks for a kid, for an infant? It's obviously a mother, right? So mother is the first and most trusted person of a child. This is the starting stage. So, if this happens well, if the environment of the child is very peaceful, mother is being very well connected with the child, and time to time the child is getting being fed, and he or she is getting all the comforts, the child will have a hold with the in the relationship. It will trust the mother, right? So if that doesn't happen, what if now the things are very easy to say when I'm talking about mother and child relationship. What happens if the child is not having a person to take care of? Even if it is a mother or a caregiver, what happens if the child is not having that kind of cuddling, that kind of feed, proper feed? The child is left to cry. There are so many out there. When we are talking, we will be thinking that who will leave the child like that? But there are situations where the kids are left alone to survive, right? So in that case, the mistrust arises. So this mistrust, if it is there, it will reflect in the upcoming stages too. What happens? The child will never trust. When the child has no one to trust in the name of mother, the child will never trust the rest of the world, right? He or she will doubt each and every individual. He or she will doubt each and every aspect around him or her, right? Taking place, whatever is taking place, he will be subjected to doubt. So there is no way escapism, because he or she has not experienced that. So he speaks about, Erickson says few words about it. Let's see. Baby is completely dependent on mother or caregiver. Seek of satisfaction of their needs is the basic thing here. Okay. Like, for example, nourished, handled, cuddled, secured. Sense of security or insecurity is developed here in this stage. Either secured feel will be gaining more and more worth there, so that the child's hope is fulfilled, and it will try to explore the world in the next upcoming stage. If it is not happening, mistrust is there, insecure life, if the child is experiencing, then everything will go in trouble. Developing basic trust or mistrust is not merely a matter of nurture. Now we have to understand, just feeding is not that thing what they are talking about. What Erickson is talking about is not just feeding time to time, 1 hour once I'm feeding my baby. It's not like that. the connect, the affection, the kind of affection that you're showing while you're feeding, the kind of affection that you're showing when you're cuddling, everything is understood by your child, and it is imbibed in the child, and it is reflected in the child's behavior. See, I couldn't post a picture here. I wanted to. Long back, I saw a picture in which it was representing that whatever the mother thinks while feeding the child, it is being connected from the mother's brain through the feed to the child. That was a wonderful picture. I'll try to post it after. I couldn't search for it. Long back I saw that. So that is what he is mentioning here. You can see here. See, it depends on the quality of maternal relationship, and the mother reflects her inner perceptions of trustworthiness on the child. Not only trustworthiness, the mother reflects, or mother indirectly or directly happens. It happens so that the child imbibes everything from the mother, the kind of thought process, the kind of trust, the kind of attitude, the kind of confidence, everything, the kind of creativity, everything from mother, it imbibes. It is a phenomena that is not much noticed, but that is why people are, all our elders used to say that the mother, a feeding mother, a mother of a newborn must be very happy. She must have good music to listen, must read good books, and think or view all the good happenings around them. Even before the birth of the child, before delivery also, the mother is asked to have all the happy things happening, things around the women, right? So this is the reason, like he she may reflect all the things, bad things. It's not wantedly done, but it happens. So that is why Erickson is saying that the mother reflects her inner perceptions of trustworthiness on the child. By this, the child develops trust that can transit if this happens well. If the mother gives a strong connect with the child, has a strong connect with the child, and she is capable of giving her all positivity towards the child during the infancy stage, then the child will have a strong feeling of relationships, strong belief on the relationships, just like the mother with others in the society in a later stage. So, what happens if is done well? The child will, in the next stage, he or she will initiate for relationships, and it will trust, and it will believe, and it will build relationships other than parental relationships, right? Also children develop trust in others to support them, right? Yeah, this is very important. This is a point to be discussed in lot many ways, because believing others in the present day has become something of huge discussion, right? We are not teaching our children to believe others, because the society has changed a lot in lot many ways. And I should say, I believe that media is one vital tool in changing our mindset, and bringing so many problems, especially for children below 5 years. In a way, it is a threatening thing. I cannot discuss the now in this lesson. Yes, if successful in this, the trust forms the basis in the child for a sense of identity. Now, what happens? This is the base, because this is the most important point in an individual, which would allow us to explore all other aspects of life. So, like identity is a far ahead topic, but this hope will give you some confidence in your life, some confidence about the surroundings you have, confidence about the relationships, some strong bond and belief about the happenings around us, right? So, if not, mistrust will result in a feeling of fear and a sense that the world is inconsistent and unpredictable. The child will start, if it has all bad things around happening around the child, what happens? The child will lose the confidence about the environment around society, community, or whatever you say. This what happens in a due course. The child becomes um, a maladjusted kid, I could say, or a delinquent child. These are the basic things which we fail to understand, and that leads to so many negative and traumatic events in life of a child. And I usually say that no child is a bad one, and we should never refer them as bad, and no child is a zero. Every child has something special, which is which he or she holds within them, and have come to explore that in this world, right? So next stage is autonomy versus shame. So this is happening in the next stage, which is from 1.5 to 3 year old kids duration. See, one thing I wanted to tell you, these all these age references, that I had quoted, I have referred lot many ways, and I had mentioned this. There are some books in which the age range is varying. I believe that this is quite appropriate according to the age. Even I referred some pediatric references, pediatricians also. So it's up to you that whichever you want to follow, you can follow. So see, there are dichotomous terms, that is autonomy versus shame. Here, from right from after the hope, here will is being developed. Will to initiate things, will to start a relationship, will to explore something, will to identify the self. All these things are developing. Here, next from the mother, now the circle of the child is a little bit broadening. Parent, that is father and mother, are involved in this stage. So let's see what happens in this stage. When the child enters this stage with a newly developed motor skills and language abilities, the child enters this stage with uh, a few words that he or she had learned, and with a few little motor skills like to hold things, to stand straight, to try to walk or run, or right from the crawling stage. Now the child would have developed a few more additive qualities or motor skills, and now trying to explore the other rest. So here the child engages and explores his or her environment, experiments the strengths and weakness to attain independence, like for example, walking, jumping, running, all these things, even laughing, even that's what I said, holding things, throwing things, uh, all these things. So now what has to be done and what should not be done is very important. Especially what should not be done is very important. We should not restrict the child, punish for unnecessary things, discouraging that, oh, don't climb on it, don't do like that. So mostly kids, they have an adventurous attitude to climb on the window grills and other things. So during that, we should not restrict them. If a child wants to play in sand, let him or her play, let them explore. They have they can mentally connect with the particles. They will touch and feel and learn which is solid, which is soft, which is rough. Everything they learn by themselves. We needn't have to teach them, only we have to allow them to explore their environment. So that is very important. So that's what we should not restrict, punish, discourage, or overprotective. That is really which has to be eradicated from the parents. Especially we need to give some counseling to the single parent child, sorry, a child with who is, I mean, parents with single child. There it is a must now. And embarrassing that, oh, you fell down, or you did this, oh, that has happened, oh my god, you did like this. Please don't say that. Every time failures are also okay. Let the child learn from the failures and explore their world. That is very important. Instead of teaching, let them explore and learn. Don't guide them, don't instruct them. That is more importantly to be understood by parents, especially parents with a single child. They need more assistance. So they should be given reasonable degree of freedom, and should create as parents or as elders, we should create an environment that welcomes failures. Even we should teach them it's okay to fail, it's okay to learn something from failures. Every time success needn't have to be a part of our life, right? So that we have to teach them. And if things are not channelized positively, the child may feel embarrassed and ashamed. Totally a disaster will happen in this stage, which will be carried to the next stages too. Even in the adulthood stage, this child will be reflecting all these things. I will be discussing that. But sense of doubt or shame within a reasonable limit is not harmful. So what we have to do is, it's not like we are just allowing the kid to run here and there and break his head or her head. It's not like that. You need to guide them. See, if you do this, this will happen. So watch it. Watch for your watch your footsteps. Watch the door steps are there or something like that. In that way we can guide the child. Or when they talk in front of a gathering, they mostly children, they what they do, they say all the things happening at home, that my father he cooks, my mother she orders. All these things they used to say. It's not a wrong thing, but we can guide them where to talk and how to behave. All these things we can just guide them and behave like a friend to them, right? So that is very essential. And a healthy sense of doubt or shame is okay, right? Now enables, what this happens when we guide them and make them aware of the uh, uh, hurdles or barriers, or the threats, upcoming threats. It enables the child to be in a limit. It enables the child to frame a limit and explore its independent ideas, right? So enables a child to set one's own limits, enables a sense of right and wrong, acquires the striking balance between the conflicting needs of his or her environment and the sense of autonomy of self. Now what happens in each stage? There is a crisis, right? We need something, and the environment is expecting something. That is, we want to behave in some way, and the environment is demanding us to behave in some other way. So every time, every individual, when I'm talking about this, also when listening to this, you will be thinking that yes, I expected to be like this, but my environment, by my parents, my society is expecting me to be like this. Yes, so everybody has this conflict. So we need to come to a balance, right, in each and every stage. So these things the child will acquire at the stage if proper, sufficient, limited guidance is given on uh, the harms, upcoming harms, and the child is given sufficient freedom. The child himself or herself will learn all these things. So child discovers their talents and abilities. So what happens this stage? Erickson says that it is a self control without the loss of self esteem. See, if you are not embarrassing your child, the child is not losing his or her self esteem, but they are get becoming more and more controlled, more and more coordinated, more and more well behaved by themselves. They learn to frame their morals. They are able to frame their limits, right? The next stage is initiative versus guilt, and this stage is from 3 to 5 years. And here, from mother, father, mother, in the stage, now the basic family or the ultimate family, the closer relationships like grandparents, cousins, all these people get into this frame now. So here, either the child gets an attitude of initiating things, or it will be feeling inferior and always have a guilt feel inside himself or herself. So see, we'll see how. In this stage, the child enters with the behaviors acquired from the earlier stages. Here, initiates to interact with the environment, starts questioning that inquiring mode is more now. If for each and everything, for a light, for water, there will be so many questions. We will be thinking that, oh, can we also think like this? Something like weird questions are coming out like that. We'll be thinking, but it's not like that. The child is becoming more and more creative and more trying to explore and understand the environment around it. So it will have that inquiry mode. And here the inquiry mode should not be stopped, or the child should not be embarrassed. It's a very basic thing which we have to understand. The child needs to be responsibly dealt here. So children in this stage are interacting with the peers, and creating their own games and activities. This is the stage when they are moving from their ultimate family to the next stage. So this is a transitional stage here. So initiation gives them confidence. So when building good relationship in the family, having trust, a kind of freedom, everything, after experiencing all these things, the child will be able to initiate the relationships, initiate friendship, initiate sharing, initiate cooperativeness, initiate coordinations. All these things will be inculcated within the child. And if it is not done well in the previous stages, this stage will also be a failure, where the child will have adjustment issues with others. So it is better not to react, as they make their own decisions based on their failures. Let them learn from failures. As in the previous stage, here also Erickson says that let them learn from their failures. So if their mental and psychological explorations are encouraged, the habit of initiation goes on a long way in the later life too. See how wonderful it is. If now the child is within 5 years, if we are able to deal with the child in a very efficient way, this will take him or her to a in a right path till the end of his or her life. See how wonderful it is, right? So here how the elders should be: elders need to supervise, guide and encourage. That's it, only that much we have to do. We should not be like the father represented in the movie Santosh Subramaniam, right? Directing how he has to play a chess or how he has to play a carom. In each and every step, if we are performing our performance in uh, as a like we are performing our act from the place of your son or daughter. What happens? They never get a chance to explore their creativity, they never get a chance to explore what they want to, right? And this will make them inferior, and they will never ever talk in front of a gathering, never ever express their what they like, and never ever, at least even, they will not explore it for their sake. They will never know that. It's not like being a pop singer or something like that, but they will not even be a bathroom singer then, right? So that is a very pathetic situation. So we should not be a father who plays his game from standing as a child, his son or daughter, right? Standing in the place of his son or daughter, right? So lack of faith, criticism, punishments, rebuking, or on minor failures leads to a sense of guilt. See what happens in that also. If I have seen many parents like that, if they expect the child to run 100 meters and it fails to run, immediately the mother or father will be telling that, why you didn't do that, you have to focus on the game, why you didn't do like this, you should have done. And even in exam, if they miss 1 or 2 marks, then the mother will be so panicked, and like everything is finished. That's it. In a class 3, if the child is getting 98 in marks, that's it, the end. That is the end of the child's education. Like that, the child mother will be screaming. We have seen many around us like that, right? They will be so depressed for the 2 marks. That doesn't happen in that doesn't work in that way. Actually, parents need to be guided more on this aspect. Especially, marks are not everything for a child's development. That we have to make clear strongly. inculcate in our minds. So, what we should not do, we should not become a kind of rebel when the child fails to do perform something in a way that we expected. That is more important. Sense of guilt leads to believe that they are being burden to others. See how worse the situation is becoming, right? And negativity leads to hesitation, lack of initiation, poor decision making, etc. So what happens, continuous negative experiences will lead the child to just leave the child in a situation that he or she will never initiate things. He or she will feel that they are burden for the society, burden for their parents, burden for, there are many suicidal cases, right? Even in plus 2, if they are not able to pass NEET, if they are not able to face NEET, even what they have, what happens, they even there are situations where the child doesn't speak about its problems, and just attempt for suicide, right? There are so many cases we are facing in these days, and we are hearing via news channels, right? So that is what, they will never initiate anything, they will never initiate make their own decisions. They will sit quietly, that parents will, whatever parents decide, I will do that, because I am not fit for deciding for me, even for a right from the dress right to education. They will not decide anything, they will be sitting quietly, that let parents decide on my life, right? So that is a pathetic thing. Then you are not developing their individuality. That's a huge failure for the society, for the individual, and for the family, right? So the next stage, sorry, is industry versus inferiority, where competence develops. This is a stage. This is again a transformational stage where the child is moving to the adolescent age. That is a very important stage again. No stage is unimportant actually. Every stage has its own pros and cons. So we have to deal children very carefully in each and every stage. So in this stage, the child, now what happens, from mother, parents, family, peers, now the child is moving to the neighborhood. Child is trying to explore its community people. Child is trying to connect with its community and its school, uh, pers- people around her, the child, right? So here what happens, either its identity develops or it has a role confusion. Okay, let's see how this identity, there is some mistake which I had done in this slide. Let's not see the picture that I had the uh, uh, given below. So here in this stage, the industry versus inferiority develops. So in this, the child enters with the behaviors acquired from the earlier stages. So compares the self-worth to others. Here, see, in previous stage itself, we understood the child starts believing, if it is constantly being treated badly, the child starts believing that I'm not fit for anything. I'm just a burden to my parents, like that. So what happens here in the next stage, the child starts comparing it with others. If the parents had taught them the competencies or the skills that the child has, then this will not happen, right? But here this child starts to compare the self-worth with others. And this is a common thing with every child, that it compares with its peers, it compares with its elders, it compares with its parent, everywhere. It tries to see what it has, what kind of qualities that I have, like that. It also gains importance. It has more focus on its friends group, and they also compete with peers, right here. And admiration, reward, and encouragement leads us to a sense of industry and achievement of the child. Here, teachers and parents play a key role. So expectations from the child is creating a pressure here. See what happens from school also, the teachers give some pressure, from society there is an expectation that you have to study well, you have to do this, now you're going to go for, in future you will become a doctor, you have to study all these things. Like that, from the starting itself, the child is just started to explore the school life and peer life. Right then we'll start that, we'll have a huge plan, life plan, 5-year plan and 10-year plan, and we'll be preparing the child's mind that you are going to become like this, you have to do this, you have to do that. So that kind of pressure is from everywhere. So what happens, if this stage, if we are not teaching industry, we have to teach the manual labor, the fruitfulness of working hard, and we have to teach them the importance of uh, being able to do their own work by themselves independently. That is more important. Otherwise what the child will become, he or she will become very inferior in their qualities. They will not explore their qualities, they will not trust their own abilities. So if not guided well, their performance may go down, and may feel inferior and may not reach the fullest capabilities. So next stage is identity versus role confusion. Yes, of course, this is the adolescent stage, which is a stress and storm full of stage. Here this child is very much interested to have spend its entire time with the peers. So here what happens, here comes the identity and role confusion, which I had later previously mentioned in a wrong slide. So what happens here, the child attains the puberty, be it male or female. Here its psychological aspects, physical aspects, all has a lot of changes to go through, and it is looking forward to the future in terms of its career, education and relationship, everything. There is a lot many things to go from within, in thought process, also in the physical state also. So what happens if the previous stages are not happened in a better way, are gone in a better way, then this also has lot many troubles. So here for small things also, they'll feel that they are not having any self identity. They will have problems in thinking their role. They will be having their problems, they'll feel that they are humiliated. They'll be having so many questions in within themselves. Who am I, or how do I look, or how am I performing better, am I the right person? There may be so many questions in them, then regarding their role, regarding their future, so many. So teachers and parents must play a constructive role to enable them to find their answers for all these questions which I had mentioned earlier. Next is intimacy versus isolation. So this is a wonderful zone which has to be taken till the end, till the 8th stage. So that is very important role, and this happens, this is about the relationships which we have apart from our ultimate family. We are trying to get into a new relationship, right? So in this stage what happens, individuals, either they have a good intimacy, if they had a good trust and a habit of initiating relationships, then now here in this stage they will be having closer intimacy with whomever they are with, be it their friends, be it their spouse, with everybody they'll have a very cordial relationship. Optimal positivity will be spread. If not, then they will be in trouble, their relationships will be in trouble. They will try to be alone, they'll try to be a single person, they'll never initiate relationships, they'll be not trusting themselves to get into a relationship. So that those kind of things will be happening. If everything went positive in the previous stages, they will have a harmonious relationship in life. It's not about just about the spouse, it's about everybody around us, how we deal with each and every individual, what kind of relationship we have with each and every individual. It is about that. So here comes generativity and stagnation. This happens in 45 years to 65 years of age range. So here what happens, we become so generous here, and we care for others, we share our possessions with others, we enjoy the time with others, we enjoy our responsibilities like child or grandchildren, everything. We'll try to enjoy our life to the maximum. We'll relax, we'll chill. If our previous stages went well, now this will be a developmental stage, a mentally being very broadened stage. As a person is either making progress in his career or unsure of what to do. See, there are two dichotomous things, the two poles, that is, one, they are growing up, or otherwise they are in a stagnant stage. So here they will care for themselves as well as for others, and enjoy raising their children and participating in lot many activities. If not, usually they will not be involving themselves, not nor will not make any decisions, and they will only keep the past and take the past in their mind, and they'll be having a sense of being worthless. So, this stage, here comes the last stage, which is ego integrity or despair. What happens? This is like, I have done all my responsibilities well. Now I have the time to relax. I have everything given. God has given me everything. Like that kind of thought elders used to have, right? So that kind of thing is happening here. If every all the other seven stages have went well, then that will happen here. So this is the last chapter in one's life, and retirement is approaching or has already taken place. Acceptance of life in its fullness, and the victories and the defeats, whatever accomplishments or being unrecognized by others, everything is okay for them. Everything is one equal for them. That stage comes. This is the last stage where, just like as Maslow has mentioned in his self-actualization theory, here they get detached from the worldly things. They'll say that, oh, now all my responsibilities are over, so now I can happily go from this worldly, I can detach from this worldly relationships, like that. So if these things doesn't happen, what happens? The individual will be feeling having a sense of guiltiness inside them. They will always look back and will be depressed and hopeless, that I had done nothing. In every stage I had a setback. I had a setback because of this. I had my life had to been like this, but it didn't went well. Like that, they will be giving all, like they will always have a kind of insufficiency or incomplete feel in their entire life, that will be represented in this stage. So these are the 8 stages given by Erickson in his psychosocial theory. I hope that this was an elaborate and useful session for you all. Thank you, one and all.